So, what do you get when you strip away the perfunctory necessity of introduction of an extremely popular IP owned by another rival studio into your well-oiled machine of the MCU, backed by that fat blank Disney check, as well as removing any and all shadows of the looming death and consequences of Tony Stark that permeates just about every single decision the titular character makes, making him more of a character in other people's stories instead of his own leading man in his own franchise? Well, you get a goddamn triumph of a Spider-Man movie. No Way Home is the most Spider-Man movie in the history of Spider-Man movies, allowing Tom Holland's take to exist without the shackles of what came before him and without the massive implications of other more cosmic heroes that are already set up to come after him. For the first time in a long time, No Way Home delivers on the purest form of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which I didn't even really know we were missing until someone at Marvel wrestled the franchise control from the clutches of Sony and shouted childishly, "Mine?" No Way Home is pinnacle Spider-Man in the best of ways, somehow managing to make huge franchise-spreading, overindulgent, overstuffed, and complex but simple rehashing of Into the Spider-Verse but live action, and still a really damn good movie into a consumable, emotional roller coaster of a blockbuster. I know we all seem to be waiting with bated breath in hopes that today is the day that the MCU crumbles under the weight of their own monopoly on media, so we can get back to seething with disdain at the shady business practices of the House of Mouse, let out our frustrations with the lackluster Galaxy's Edge and the new Star Wars trilogy, and really dig into the abysmal unveiling of the Star Wars immersive Star Cruiser experience that has the price tag of $5,000 for 2 nights but feels more like a knockoff cosplay that gets a C- for effort. Tom Holland is the Spider-Man of the generation and is so good we kind of forgive and forget the fact that the studio that made it is about as shady as Jeff Bezos ensuring his workers don't get a proper bathroom break so you can get your very own Blu-ray copy as soon as possible. To be fair, these bold critiques of the world around us instead of focusing on the film itself is largely due to the fact that I can't really talk about No Way Home without spoilers, and I refuse to be that asshole that ruins a special once-in-a-lifetime movie-going experience for anyone. I'm looking at you, Variety Magazine. Y'all are 2 for 2, and you shouldn't be allowed back into the club until you can learn to behave. So I kind of have to dance around the fringes of irrelevant issues to fill the time for this review, otherwise we'd be here for about 30 seconds and it would just be me shouting over and over again to go see Spider-Man No Way Home. While I'm sure that works great on TikTok, I'm over 30, and it's not really a medium that's conducive to me being able to get my thoughts out to those damn kids and their loud music. What I can say is that whatever fears you have from the trailers that there are too many villains or too many characters or too many hidden cameos or too many implications or simply too much of everything all at once, you can rest easy and know that John Watts and his writing team, Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, more than understand the task at hand and strike a perfect balance of massive ambition in a contained, purposeful story. We don't have time to get into the mastery of this achievement, but let me just say that the creators do a better job than you'd ever expect them to do by bringing countless faces from countless series that have countless implications of interactions, but never once getting lost in a sea of possibilities. Look, hyperbole and fancy sentences aside, No Way Home is beautifully balanced, giving justification to just about every character it chooses to include, while also packing the film to the brim with heart and humor. You will laugh, you will cheer, and yes, you will cry. Don't get macho on me. No Way Home goes out of its way to make sure there isn't a dry eye in the house by the end. I can't stress enough how well balanced all of these emotions are. Nothing is ever undercut by the other. Yes, I'm looking at you, Thor Ragnarok. The film is wonderfully humorous, but god damn it does it ask a lot of its actors to be on their A game at every single turn. Luckily, every single one of them is up to the task. It's like Tom Holland, who has continuously proven he's capable of just about every range of emotion on camera with a layer of perfect comedic timing went, I'm gonna go ahead and be unimaginably great here, and everyone including Zendaya went, oh, we're using our superior acting skills. Well, then I'm amazing too. And suddenly I'm running out of dry things to wipe my eyes on. No Way Home legitimately sports some of the best acting in a Spider-Man movie I've ever seen, with no weak link or subpar performance, and that's saying a lot considering how many people end up getting some kind of highlight, either big or small, and every single person understands why it's important they make themselves important here. I'm gonna say this, and this isn't a critique of the film overall, but something I've long maintained and was only validated as the film went on. I wish upon wishes that there was no trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. There are plenty of moments you won't see coming or may have predicted to see coming that never lose their joy seeing them, and I can't help but think how amazing it would be if we saw Doc Ock for the first time in the movie instead of in the trailers. Seriously, the amount of time the theater cheered and clapped, it was something I hadn't experienced for almost 2 years, and I just can't help but think how much more impactful it would be seeing all of these villains from all of their franchises for the first time during your first viewing. What ends up transpiring is a telegraphed appearance of sorts. We've seen almost the entire bridge scene in the trailer for months now, so as soon as Spider-Man shows up on the bridge, we know Doc Ock and Green Goblin are around the corner. There are simply so many other times where it takes us completely by surprise, and that overflow of emotion felt like it could have been applied to the long list of villains that show up here too. Everything in the film is good, but I guess we can still try to do a speed round on the good to see what comes out without spoiling anything that really makes the film close to perfect. No Way Home is brilliantly written and beautifully paced, with a huge sprawling narrative that manages to feel personal and purposeful, and props to the writers for their skillful balance of humor and heart. Side note and spoiler frustration without giving any context to what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
The acting is top-notch, the characters are deeply developed and likable, the story unfolds while avoiding countless pitfalls that could crumble it at any moment, as if the entire film is walking on eggshells, and makes it through without breaking any of them. Willem Dafoe is a personal standout, mainly because he hasn't had to tap into the Green Goblin in almost 20 years, and within the very first frame we see him, it looks like he's just been lying in wait to be tapped again for the role, like his award-winning run in the last 20 years never happened. Jamie Foxx gets a second chance, no longer confined to the weird, unrelatable interpretation of Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and lets him be him like he always should have been. Frankly, all of the villains get their due, and Spider-Man No Way Home is proof that in the right hands you can absolutely have too many villains if the story you're telling is worth it. Holland gives one of the best performances of the year, once again solidifying himself as an actual actor that happens to be a superhero instead of a superhero that happens to have a good-looking actor. The performances are amazing, the story moves with expert pace and purpose, the humor lands hard, and the heart rips your soul from your body, and somehow all of these pieces fit together when there's a large part of you that feels like it shouldn't. Oh, and if you're thinking No Way Home is really the adventures of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, you will be pleasantly surprised to find out that that is not what actually happens. The writers are smart enough to include Strange without forcing him to be the primary protagonist. He's a catalyst player at best, but the film really is a Spider-Man film in the best of ways, and that's something the previous two entries have fallen short of but make up for here. Look, I did my best to dance around the spoilers that more so than any other film matter the most and are integral to the success of No Way Home. What I can say is I implore you with all of my being to go into this movie as blind as possible. The less you know, the better, because whatever you think you know about the movie is probably wrong, and the last thing you want is for some twat to ruin some of the more impactful moments of the film for you. I can't say enough about No Way Home without saying too much about No Way Home, but I can say that this is the must-watch film of the year, worth the wait, and delivers on even the wildest of expectations. For a studio that will eventually fall victim to its own success, the fact that No Way Home isn't even close to being the first in a long line of missteps, despite the enormous weight of the nerd community barreling down on it, is as impressive as the movie itself. So stop watching this video and get your ass to the movies. Fire up those web shooters and swing your way into a theater. Trust me, it's worth it. It's amazing. Like, it's an amazing Spider-Man. Oh, shit, I've said too much. Cut!
What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them.
Spider-Man No Way Home.